Aventurine executed a brilliant, life-threatening plan to bring death unto himself in the dreamscape, through creating various dynamics between himself and other people, particularly Ratio, Topaz, Sunday, Jade, Acheron, and the Astral Express. But exactly how did he do it? We'll go through every theory and link that causes the plan to go smoothly, showing exactly how intelligent Aventurine truly is. So let's talk about just the dynamic between Aventurine and Ratio first, and then we'll add the other characters in. There are 3 possible versions of what might be happening between Aventurine and Ratio's dynamic. The first is that Aventurine and Ratio had a conversation off-screen about the plan, and as such, everything they said in 2.1 has a double meaning, which we'll go into. The second, which I believe is the most likely case, is that they didn't have a conversation about it, but are constantly playing off each other, and we'll analyze this to the full extent. The third is that this is actually all a surprise to Aventurine. He hasn't planned anything, and he's just playing by ear.
Tell me about your plan.
I don't have a plan. I'll just play it by ear.
So let's go through theory 1 first. The idea that Aventurine and Ratio had a conversation about the plan. If this is so, their words to each other are more like double meanings, and this plan is being constantly foreshadowed and referred to throughout the quest. But they're foreshadowing Ratio's betrayal. It's a double meaning where it's actually them discussing that the plan has gone exactly as he thought.
Look around while you still have this moment of freedom.
Hey Doc, whose side are you on anyway?
Who's to say I won't sell you out? I thought this was exactly what you wanted. After all, I faithfully fulfilled my duties as you instructed.
Where Aventurine is talking to Ratio about the betrayal, it is less an accusation and more like a reminder that they should not drop character.
Have you forgotten, Doctor? You betrayed me. That's why Ratio's betrayal was one of the keys to your plan.
2, which is the most likely situation in my opinion, is that they didn't have a conversation about it. Maybe because it's hard to have one with Sunday and his birds constantly watching, or frankly because they don't trust each other to that extent.
What's your plan?
Well, no need to expand on that now. It's not yet time to reveal my trump card.
Damned gambler. Any true collaboration demands trust.
Then, do you trust me?
That depends on you.
So you don't trust me either. Now that was easy, wasn't it?
Or something else. There are a couple of things that are clear to us, and as such we might be able to presume would also be clear to Ratio, given that both these characters are exceptionally intelligent. Firstly, the IPC sent Aventurine down to take penacony for a reason. Therefore, even though Ratio is technically in charge of the mission, it's Aventurine's plan that will get executed. And this may be a take-at-all-costs situation. The cost including Aventurine's own life.
Nothing more than a doomed Sigonian thrall sentenced to die by the IPC.
Then tell your people that Aventurine is ready to go in 17 system hours. So that's why Diamond chose you. He's just after penacony. No matter the means, no matter the price. It's not personal.
Secondly, Aventurine has particularly self-destructive tendencies, which means that he's likely to lay down his life for this plan to the fullest extent, as expected of him by the IPC. Given that Aventurine is the one laying down his life, the most cordial thing Ratio could do would be to be the perfect character in the plan. Essentially, Ratio has to look at every situation and decide what to do based on how Aventurine thinks Ratio will act and the outcome that Aventurine is betting on. There are a couple of things Aventurine needs in order to achieve his mission. Firstly, they need Sunday off their backs. Due to Aventurine witnessing Robin's murder, the hounds have been watching him like a hawk.
There are no eagles in the 5 families, only nightingales.
They also need a way to get to wherever death is, in order to find it and to fully discover what happens when someone dies in the dreamscape. Ironically enough, it's likely because Ratio believes Aventurine thinks he will betray him that Ratio chooses to betray him.
I thought this was exactly what you wanted. After all, I faithfully fulfilled my duties as you instructed.
As well as the fact that it will likely get Sunday off his back. Ratio has deduced that this is likely and hopefully Aventurine's plan, which could explain why he still approaches him for a conversation after the betrayal.
Or is that also part of your act? Just tell me if you can't hold on any longer.
Okay, so now let's add Sunday into the equation. penacony has very tight security. It's only through the family holding Aventurine's Stoneheart that he's allowed into the dreamscape. The cornerstone gives the power of an emanator, and so from this, Aventurine can start to form a picture of how best to get to where death is, and more importantly, who and the kind of power that can get him there.
Stellaron and an emanator.
But here's the thing, the IPC has dispatched both Ratio and Aventurine, meaning that only one of them has to win Sunday's trust in order to give them the edge that they need to discuss negotiations of a penacony. Putting Aventurine at odds with Sunday allows for Ratio to come in and be on Sunday's side. Even if things had turned out differently, and Aventurine somehow managed to handle the deal of Sunday more effectively, the IPC still wins. Only one of them needs to win in order for the IPC to have its edge with Sunday. So it's about figuring out which plan is more viable. Let's think about the factors. Aventurine witnessed Robin's death. He has a reputation of being sly, and all parties, meaning the IPC as a whole, Aventurine, Ratio, and even Sunday himself, have some expectation of each other working in their own best self-interest, with their own goals at play. Essentially, the best way that they can all convince Sunday to trust them is to be self-serving. Ratio betraying Aventurine for a chance at knowledge about the Stellaron might sound exactly like something someone in the Genius Society would do, risking everything for the sake of knowledge. And you know what this reminds me of?
So you stole that divine knowledge capsule. Traitor! You traitor!
Given that Sunday has clearly done his research, he likely knows about Ratio's previous ambitions about the Genius Society, and it is exactly this idea of everyone being self-serving that allows for Aventurine to undermine Sunday. It's the closeness of the Stonehearts that Sunday doesn't consider.
You're even more united than the family.
The 10 Stonehearts aren't as united as you think.
Because the family, despite their name, aren't close behind closed doors at all. The idea that 2 of the Stonehearts be willing to give something equal to their own life for Aventurine to trade is unlikely to cross Sunday's mind. We can also note the reference to Gulliver's Arch. For reference, Gulliver is the main character in a series of stories called Gulliver's Travels by Jonathan Swift. One part of this story talks about a race of very small people, like how small Aventurine was in the sandpit, who have wildly excessive pride. To them, the littlest things matter. For instance, how an egg is cracked causes a huge political rift, the irony of which is obvious. The arch refers to when these people asked Gulliver, who is regular-sized, to stand over an area and become an arch of triumph for their troops to pass under, causing the troops to see all of Gulliver's nether regions, which is an absurd way to boost the troops' morale. This story essentially represents misplaced pride. Aventurine said it himself, there's a degree to which the whole sandpit is catering to Sunday's ego. Sunday forces him to an escape room-like quest just to meet with him, only to essentially hand out his execution. To put it simply, Sunday makes sure Aventurine never truly feels like a winner the entire way. It's clear what Sunday's trying to say with all this. He's the one in control. It's having this level of control over the situation that allows Sunday to finally relax, and for the plan to be executed. The last dynamic that we're going to add is the Astral Express and Acheron. Aventurine knows that Sunday demands confiscation of his Stoneheart, which gives him emanator powers, and that Acheron is an emanator, though the path to him is unknown. He tells Trailblazer this, which causes the Astral Express to confront Acheron. Essentially, in preparation for the final battle, he forces a meeting between Acheron and the Astral Express. In painting Acheron in a bad light, he's able to make himself the most suspicious person, given that he's betting that she has nothing to do with the death in the dreamscape. The Astral Express is definitely not a shoot first, ask questions later kind of group. They would of course question Acheron first before coming to any conclusions, making this a very safe bet situation. And lastly, this plan does indeed have Aventurine's own interests at play. In his death, he is finally free, not just from whatever Sunday did to him, but from the IPC.